Hello, hello, we're live. I'll just wait for a few people to jump on. Didn't realise that was so in view. Is that better? Is that worse? Out the way. It's really in there. Hello, hello. Just setting my space with some Florida water spray. It smells heavenly. And I got that one from Elfheim if anyone's looking for a supplier here in Australia, because it's kind of hard to find. All right, we've got a couple people on. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, all of that jazz. Just wanting to make sure that you all can hear me properly. I did have some issues getting on this morning. It kept telling me my camera was in use with another program. I only had Word open, so that was a bit creepy, so I had to restart. We can hear and see. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming to my YouTube live. This is just to celebrate hitting 5,000 subscribers, which is amazing. I am blown away. It's really cool. So I'm giving back to you all by going live, answering any questions you guys have, and they can be like witchy questions or about your practice or, any sorts of queries, and then also potentially pulling some cards as well. So feel free if you would like me to pull a card. I do have some requirements when I'm on live. That is, I don't do third-party readings, so I'm not going to read for someone else in your life and what they think about you. That's not ethical. Then also make sure you put your question clearly, and it's not a will question. So will I ever get married? That's not empowering. That's not how I work. I write about that a lot on my website as well. So instead of will I ever get married, you'd want to ask something like, what can I do to get in the right energy to find a husband or a wife or whatever you're wanting. I will let you know as well, I'm getting a bit short of breath these days. That's because I have a baby right up on my ribs and diaphragm. So I will probably try and slow my talking down. I have a tendency to go really fast on live. And I've got my water and a cup of hot tea here as well. So there we go. Did anybody, Nightly Gamer says, how's it going? It's going well. It's a bit of a cloudy, overcast, rainy, misty day here in Victoria, Australia. We had a beautiful weekend. It was hot. It was sunny. Oh, it was lovely. But yeah, now the weather's turned again. So the frosts are not yet over. What can I do to get my shop faster? As in open a shop? Is that what you're saying, Mary? Just clarify that you're wanting to open a business, basically. And whilst you do that, I'm going to answer Rachel's question, which is when creating sigils, what's the best way to activate it besides sex magic or a bay leaf? So, my cat is going crazy behind me. So if you watched the sigil magic video that I did give a few options. So there's the sex magic option, which is very powerful, bay leaf, which a lot of people are aware of, drawing it on the bay leaf and then lighting it on fire. I personally, what I do, so just say I drew it here on a piece of paper. After creating it, I would then basically imagine like a white light, like universal white light energy. And I often imagine that coming out of my right palm, okay, because that's what comes out of you. That's your giving side, right? Your left is your receiving side. So I'd imagine that white light energy flowing through me, whether it comes up through the soles of your feet or through your head, down my arm, and I'd hold my hand over it and basically imbue that and visualize the sigil white lighting up, like basically like it's on fire, like a magic glowing, basically. And to me, that's activating, and that's doing that extra process. Okay, so Mary says yes, so it's for opening her shop faster. So let's have a little look-see. Hello, Trisha, glad you can make it. All right, so Mary wants to know what she can do to be able to open her shop faster. Let's have a look. What do the cards say today? What's something she can do that's going to help her on that process? All right. So we've got two cards here for you today. I'm actually going to start with the second one that I pulled, which is the Knight of Pentacles. And what I was asking in that is, I guess, some advice on what you can do and what you shouldn't do, right? What you shouldn't do was the Knight of Pentacles, and that's a very clear sign because the Knights, they are all about movement. And when we have the four suits, so we've got our pentacles, we've got our swords, we've got our wands, and we've got our cups. Pentacles are the slowest moving, and this is the only Knight that isn't moving anywhere. He is standing still. He's almost just sitting there like, all right, is the excitement going to come to me? So that's what not to do. Don't sit around and wait patiently. Don't wait for it to happen to you. You're going to need to take an action step to get there. What you can do, we have the Judgment card. This is a really interesting card. And what I'm picking up through this one, you can see this angel heralding basically, end of the world. But that's not what I'm picking. This here, so she's got this big trumpet, she or he, it's a very androgynous angel. I don't think they have a gender. This heralding, this voice feeling is what I'm getting, that you need to basically almost like speak it into your existence and start getting the word out there and start building up that awareness, which we get by communicating what our ideas are. So depending on what your shop is for, you're going to need to either get on social media or get into local papers or local businesses that are around you that may be assisting, or get to suppliers, those sorts of things, and basically drum up that excitement using your voice and using your communication skills. So don't be shy. Don't beat around the bush and, no one wants to hear about it yet. Show your excitement. Be like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm doing. I'm so excited to bring this product. I'm so excited to open this shop and provide this service. This is what I'm wanting to do. Can you help me spread the word? And you're basically getting people excited, getting people standing up like, woohoo, I can't wait for this to happen. So that's the sort of energy you need to bring, where you feel strong and empowered and bold enough to stand up and say, this is what I'm providing. And getting that word out there and sharing it around rather than sitting around and waiting for it to happen. So I hope that helps you, my dear. Let's have a look. Do I need to scroll down on these? No. Then we've got Victoria. Can you pull a general energy or message regarding to a topic as opposed to a specific question? Yes, I find specific questions tend to give a more specific answer, but if you have a certain topic, like what message is coming through for me regarding finance and that sort of thing, you can ask that. They're just not as specific often. The other ones that I love doing on lives, and it seems to just pop up a lot, and I may actually make it a service because I really enjoy doing it, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it as well, which is when people ask what their spiritual gift is. We all have a spiritual gift, and it's really cool to, I guess, see that insight into what you're bringing to the table. So that one's fun. You're welcome, Mary. Rachel asks, what can I do to improve my financial situation? Let's have a look. Oh, Asteria says she loves my hair. Thank you. I recently dyed it, and it was a murder scene in the bathroom. Alrighty, let's have a look. So this is for Rachel. What can I do to improve my financial situation? Again, I'm going to pull 2 cards because I just find it just gives a balance to that energy. Ooh, interesting. All right, so we have this one here. This is a Wands card. Now, Wands are about passions, they're about activities, they're about projects, and they're about creativity. Okay, so it's a real get up and go type of energy. All right, it's fiery. Now, with this card, so this is the number 7, and we can see here he is almost like fighting against all of these. And I'm picking up now as well. So the words that I'm hearing are like fighting down debt, or fighting down the areas where you're leaking money, or fighting down the things that are taking away from what you're trying to build. So this is a very active stance. This is you taking a big action step to go, no, you will go away. This credit card will die. This one's going to go away too. See you later, bank. Get that mortgage down, whatever it is that you're having to pay off, or your money is sort of siphoning off into, or leaks. I'm feeling like there's like leaks in your budget that you're not aware of. And it is taking that action step of, screw it. I may not be the best budget person in the world. I may not be all on top of this. I mean, he's got 2 different shoes on. He's not entirely ready to take it on, but he's taking action anyway. So he's going out there and he's like, oh, I'm going to fight you all back, and I'm going to make sure that, my family is safe and my finances are safe. So it's a very sort of like protective energy, protecting you from the leaks and fighting down any debt that you have. So that's what you need to do. So that might be potentially doing a full overhaul So you could track your spending and see exactly where everything is going. It's going to take a little bit of time. Once you set up a spreadsheet or find one that someone has that works for you, that's going to be easier to keep on top of, but you need to keep up your motivation. These are fiery wands. You need to be motivated. So just remember what that end goal is, and that should help with your motivation as well. And the other card was the High Priestess. And this almost brings the feeling of sometimes we can think we know what is happening and think we know where our money's going and think there's some almost like divine thing that's going to come through and change it all around and change the whole situation. Like, oh, I'll do a money spell or I'll do this. It's almost like saying, no, that's not what you need to do. You need to be practical and get out there and actually take those action steps with your finances rather than relying on a magical spell or a ritual or, the luck of the draw getting, what's it called, lottery or anything like that. Like, it's not going to be something external from you that changes the situation. You need to be the one to change the situation. So I hope that helps. Let's have a look. And Assyria, yes, it is okay if you ask a question. Totally fine. Okay, let's have a look. So Victoria just wants to know if there is a general message. So I'm just going to have a look. So, and I'm using, if anyone's curious, a Rider-Waite-Smith deck of cards, traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. So it looks like this. Okie dokie. So this is for Victoria. Is there a message coming through? And actually, you know what? Just as I say that, I'm feeling called to switch up the decks. So I'm going to switch over to my Shadowscapes, which is slightly smaller in the hand, so it's slightly easier for me to shuffle as well. So my hands are not very big. Let's have a look. So again, this is for Victoria, and just see if there's any message coming through for her. Usually I like to send these almost like to your spirit guides or your spirit team. What is your spirit team wanting you to know right now? And we have the Four of Swords. So this, again, with the Shadowscapes deck, it's really pretty. This is my first deck that I got because it didn't seem scary. So I don't know how clear you can actually get on those. I find the Rider-Waite-Smith is clearer because the images are simpler. These ones are a little bit more detailed, like beautiful petals and flowers and all sorts of things happening. So what we can see, there's a lady lying here holding onto a sword. She's got some swords in her hair as well. This is the Four of Swords. And so the message that's coming through to you is to rest. Take it easy. Lay it down. Lay your sword down is what I'm hearing. So it's almost like whatever you've been fighting against or whatever you've been trying really hard to do, it's almost like you just need to let it go, lay it down and take rest and almost spend some time on yourself, inside yourself as well. So she's got her eyes closed. She also has, it looks like a gem or something right here over her third eye. So it feels like almost going into yourself, focusing on meditation and opening yourself up in that way is going to help you and coming into that quiet space. This is a very quiet, soothing card as well. There is a lot of purple in this card. Purple often relates to our crown chakra as well, which is, so your third eye is going to be I trust, so trusting the universe, and I am connected. Okay, so you need to focus on those two feelings of trusting and being connected to the universe and everyone around you and laying down your sword as well. So I hope that resonates with you, my dear. Caroline Rudolph. Love that idea of spirit gifts. Please, let's have a look. All right, so what spiritual gift does Caroline have? And keep with the Shadowscapes. 10 of Cups. So that's this one here. Now, cups are all about our emotions, our intuition. They're the water element. So cups are very flowy. And this one, we can see there are two people here, almost like entwined together. So I'm just going to tune in a little bit here. So 10 of Cups. So it feels very empathic. It feels very, I'm hearing clairsentience as well. So almost like feeling into, so we can just imagine you're one of these figures and that you are connected through their energy flow. You can choose to connect into their energy space, energy field, and it feels like you're one with them. It feels like you can feel them and you can understand them on that deeper level that other people that don't have this gift may not feel. So it's a mix of empathy and clairsentience. Now, clairsentience is your clear feeling through your body. If you're wanting to develop this skill, I do have a YouTube video that's coming out next week. Might be, no, I haven't edited it yet. So not this Wednesday, not the next, the following. So 3 Wednesdays from now, that one will be coming out on developing that sense. So tuning into your body and what it's telling you and what you're feeling. And what you need to be careful of with this spiritual gift is knowing when feelings and sensations are yours and when they're coming from someone else. So it's something to be wary of, but it's definitely something you can develop and you can use to your advantage, hopefully in an ethical way, and to help people and to help them heal. Or it can even come across sometimes as when you tune into someone with their permission, you might say, hey, I feel something here in, like it feels sharp in the heart space. Have you gone through a breakup recently? Did you want to talk about it or something like that? It feels very intuitive, but then helpful. So hopefully that helps you, my dear. And then let's see. Trisha would like to know what her spiritual gift is as well. Let's have a look. Alrighty. So for Trisha, I'm going to pull. Ooh. I love when we get different cards. And I love this question because it always comes out so different for everyone. So we have the Hermit card, and the Hermit card is one of the major arcanas, and this one is ruled by Virgo. So it's really interesting if you are learning the tarot to understand the astrology and how it reflects through the cards as well and what energy that brings. So with this Hermit card in particular, so it's a little bit different to the standard Rider-Waite-Smith, but he's still holding up a lantern. He's still looking into something and trying to find enlightenment. Lurking in the depths is what I'm feeling. Now, what we see here, when you look at a tarot card, and I'm pretty sure this is reversed. The camera, is the camera reversed? I don't know. When we look at a tarot card and you're looking at it, if it's something facing to the right-hand side, that's the future. Something to the left-hand side, that's the past. Now, this guy, he's looking to the left-hand side, which to me signals going backwards, looking past. This can be a gift of knowing your past lives or diving deeper into your past lives, whether or not that's something that you help others with. It almost feels like it's something that you have a gift to do for yourself, regressing yourself rather than needing help from someone else to do it. That is a skill to learn, to go backwards. Sometimes our dreams can bring us messages about our past lives as well and the lessons that we've learned, but it's almost like going backwards, going deeper, looking into your past lives, not just this life. That is going to almost like awaken up an opening. It feels like an opening into further knowledge and further depth. So like this opening here, this little circle that he's standing on, that is coming through almost like unlocking a door and opening further things down the track. Could also, if you do focus, if you do put in the time, effort and practice, it could always lead to something like the Akashic Records or something like that. But it starts with you and going back through your own past lives and learning from those what you need to learn. That is where your gift lies, and you need to pursue that to get to the end result if you wish to be able to access the Akashic Records. That feels like something you'll be really good at. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to scroll back up because I think I missed a couple. Would it be possible to ask about an event that is scheduled for Halloween? Like I'm going on an outing with a friend and I'm curious how it might go. So we can ask based on the current energy of the moment. That's fine. I'll switch. Sorry, this was for Amy. So let's have a little look-see. All right. So for Amy, what is this event likely to, what's the likely outcome? As the energy stands at the moment, we all have free will, so this can change. It's not set in stone. The tarot is not set in stone. And let's see, something you can do to, I guess, improve the event as well. All right, so we've had the Four of Swords pop up again. This one's with the Rider-Waite-Smith, so you can see the difference so much clearer because of the simple illustration in comparison to the Shadowscapes. And, oh, sorry, I just need to I've got my tea infuser in and it's time. It's time to come out. All right, otherwise I'm going to have a very strong tea. And I don't want that to burn my table, so I will put it over here. Okay, then let that cool down. So the Four of Swords. Now, this one is the likely outcome of the event, which almost feels like it either may not go ahead or it may be a lot quieter than expected. Potentially something in the works there that's going to almost like bring it down a little bit. The energy is quite subdued. But if you want to make that night even better, or that sort of thing, we've got the Sun card. And has anyone noticed every second card that I pull, the second card is often a major arcana? I think that's been the same with all of them. That's interesting. So the Sun card, and the Sun card is talking more about your own state of mind and the energy that you bring to the situation. So we can see this like inner child and this childlike quality, and everything's bright and happy. There's sunflowers in the background. So it's almost like whether or not you have a good time or enjoy yourself is going to be up to you and the energy and the optimism that you bring to the situation. So even if everyone else is boring or like it's not going to be as big or as exciting as you expected it to be, you can be the thing that makes it that. So I hope that helps. Let's have a look. Is it possible to ask a question? I'd like to have this from Asteria. I'd like to ask about my intuition. Recently, it's been very hard to trust my intuition, and I'm not sure why. So if you're having trouble trusting your intuition, sometimes this can be a block or an excess of energy in your third eye, generally more likely to be a block. Excess of energy here often means you've got no psychic boundaries and you just go on everywhere. But a block can be you feel blocked and cut off from your intuition and that sort of thing. As I said before, this is your trusting the universe. So to work on that, I can recommend some of the dark blue stones. So things like sodalite, lapis lazuli is really good. I like to wear lapis in my earrings because it's quite close to that third eye. You can also meditate with some stone like that on your third eye. Azurite is really good, although that is quite expensive. Those are all going to help you in terms of clearing any energetic blocks there. Meditation can help as well. There are some binaural beats you can find on YouTube that are sound healing for that third eye chakra and can help awaken your intuition. I have a meditation playlist, if anyone's seen that on the page, and that's got not only my tonal ones, which I'm slowly adding to, and so we'll have all of the chakras for you up there, but it's also got some other ones that I really enjoy that I like to use. There's a few for increasing intuition and psychic awareness and that sort of thing. So have a look at those. They're really, really good. And I've also been loving, I put a few on there recently, some really lo-fi beats that just are in the background when you're just wanting to just meditate, chill out, but not for, I'm not clearing my chakras. It's not a grounding meditation. It's not for a purpose to meet with my guides or anything. You're just doing the meditation to just chill out and connect with yourself. And they're really good in the background. They're just really slow and even. I really like them. So I've added them in there. So hopefully that helps you, my dear. Also, the clairvoyance video that I did on awakening that psychic ability, that can help you as well. It's got a few crystals and herbs that you can use and some exercises for getting back in touch. Let's have a look. So Michelle, can I ask what sort of job and work I am going to do? So with these sorts of questions, firstly, I like to turn it back onto what you want to do. I can always give options. I actually find astrology being really, really fantastic for giving you some really clear options as to what you'd be really good at based on your astrology chart. And for that, I look at your sun, moon, and rising sign, as well as your career zone as well. And I can give you a really interesting look at what things you'd be really good at. But we can still ask the cards. So we can say, all right, what area? I mean, they're not going to come up and say, oh, you'd be a good baker. Like, there isn't a card for that, right? But it can give us an energy. So it can give us a vibe. Let's have a look for Michelle. Okay, so we have a Pentacles card. Now, if I'm looking again at those astrological components of the cards to give me that deeper meaning, now this one is a Pentacles card, so that's your earth signs. So I think Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. This particular card is ruled by Capricorn, but the traditional meaning of this card is refinement, and we can see she's very refined. She's very, prim and proper is the vibe that you get from this. She's a very well-to-do woman is what we can see here. And she's built her wealth. And we know with Capricorns, they're often building towards something, okay? So Capricorns are very, very good in roles where, A, they have a little bit of power because they do like control and power. So often this lends them to, CEO or a really high up secretary or assistant, owning their own business, HR management. Any management position is going to be really, really good with this energy. Now, with the refinement aspect, this can also be the HR side of making sure you get your people right. So help them to grow or to go. So getting rid of the ones that aren't working, that's always good as well. And Capricorns are very good at long-term things, looking future-wise. So this can be even investments, that sort of thing. Those sorts of energies are really good with this. The other side to this is the refinement aspect can sometimes lead into things like fashion. It can lead into things like interior decorating, those sorts of things where you need a touch of class or a touch of this and you want it to look a certain way. Got a very good eye for detail as well. Very, very practical energy in this one. Okay, so hopefully that helps. If you do want further depth or broader options, absolutely recommend the Astrology Reports. I've sold out this week, but I do have 2 on offer every week, and they go on sale on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. Let's have a look. All right, so we've got a couple of comments to look through now. So I'll just read Victoria's comment. Thank you so much. It does resonate. I forgot I got that message before in a recent reading, so that was perfect. Thank you. Interesting. I do find it really intriguing when that sort of stuff happens, and I get that a lot from people where they might ask a question and it mirrors something that someone said or it mirrors a previous reading that they've had, and I just find that spirit being like, hello, I told you, come on, take it on board. But it also helps you validate like, oh, okay, this is definitely legit. This is for me, right? Excuse me whilst I take a little sip. Caroline says, thank you. Just make sure I haven't missed any of those ones. Amy says, that's awesome. Thanks so much. Siri says, thanks so much. Have a good day. Victoria says, I never even thought of astrology for career and hobbies, but that makes so much sense. Yeah. All right. So now we'll go GG 1999A. Am I ready to look for love, or should I continue focusing on my career only? Let's have a look. Love or career? Where should the focus be? Okay. So we have the Star card, and the Star card is another of the major arcanas. Now, this one is all about healing and rejuvenation, deep inner reflection and healing. And it's really, I mean, she's naked. She is uninhibited. She has no clothes on. She's just putting herself out there as she is. Now, one thing I want to point out, she has her feet in the water and on land. And this has quite a few meanings. But to me, what's coming through here is you don't have to pick one or the other. You can be open to love and ready for love, and also be focusing on your career. Now, the career would be this land over here, right? So you're still water, you're still focusing on your career, you're still putting effort in there. Most of her body weight is here in the career or the land zone, right? The practical zone. But she does have 1 foot forward. So you're ready to take that first step forward into looking for love. It feels like whatever comes up for you there is going to provide you additional healing. So that means sometimes it can be a little difficult. Healing is never a walk in the park, okay? But it's necessary and it's really, really good. And it's going to get you to that next stage where you're ready to sort of jump all in, basically. So it's not one or the other. It's not black and white. You can be looking for love, ready for love, and also working and focusing on your career. They are not mutually exclusive. So hopefully that helps you, my dear. So Maggie also would love to know my spiritual gifts as well. Let's have a look. Okay. What spiritual gifts have we got here? So we've got the Queen of Wands. And again, this is the Shadowscapes deck. So I do find it's very difficult to get it in focus for you. So I'll describe what there is. There's this beautiful big tree, and the tree branches actually have created a harp. So this is a harp here with strings here. And then there's this beautiful fairy queen playing on the harp. And it does feel like sound healing. It feels like using sound, whether that's your own voice. Sometimes people can heal and attune. Attunements feels like the right word. So attunements can be through your own voice, where you may chant. Some people chant, so they might do lamb or ham or those sorts of ones that attune with different chakras. There might be frequencies or tones that you hit, or notes that can help with people's bodies physically and realigning them and reattuning them. So it feels like the word attunement's coming through really big, and yeah, definitely in the realm of sound healing. So whether that's with your voice or with something that you do, that can be, creating music, that can be playing music, that could be, it just feels sound related. Sound healing bowls, meditation bowls, those sorts of things. That might be something that you've actually got a really good gift for. Sometimes it can even just be the words that you say, although this definitely feels a little bit more fluttery, flowery, pretty, less about talking with people and helping talk through healing, but helping them attune with the sound of your voice or the frequency of your voice, or sounds that you make with your body, that sort of thing. A lot of shamans use this as well. So tuning into your intuition. I've known shamans that they might get a message to blow a raspberry near someone's belly button, and that attunes a certain thing there, and then they're able to fall pregnant. There's some things out there that are really crazy but amazing as well. So it pays to look into that and research that and figure out what feels right for you in terms of that sound attunements and healing. Some resources on that. I have heard some interviews by Trisha Carr. So she does Charmed Life by Trisha Carr. She might be a good resource, maybe her podcast. Also, Crystal Ann Compton is very good as well. She actually does attunements on her YouTube channel using her voice. So it might be good to watch her and see how that resonates with you. So hopefully that helps, my dear. Now, Nightly Gamer. Am I able to have some help figuring out my protector? Or is that something for myself to figure out? By protector, are you meaning your spirit team, your spirit guide, your ancestor guides, that sort of thing? Just clarify what you're meaning and I'll give you some advice. Shannon says, love your readings. Can I ask, what do I need to be doing to improve my mental health? I've been going through a bit of a mental breakdown. I'd love some insight. Of course, my dear. Great question. And nothing to be ashamed of with mental health. We all go through it, all of us, even the people that say they don't. They do. All right. So, Shannon, let's have a look. Okay, so we've got the Six of Swords. Now, sixes in the tarot, they talk of problem solving, which you're already trying to do. You're trying to solve your problem. They also talk of communication. And so, firstly, that can be really good and really useful, communicating, what you're feeling, what you're needing, that sort of thing. I'm also getting the vibe of writing. So writing for you may be really beneficial, writing a journal, that sort of thing. Or even if there's something that you're holding on to that is affecting your mental health, whether that's a person, an issue, a problem, write about it or write a letter to them. You don't have to send it to them. You can burn the letter, hide it, whatever you want to do. But it just feels like writing almost gets it off your chest and gets that energy out of your body. Now, what we can see in this card, we've got these 6 swords with crows on them. And that feels like that heavy energy that you've got at the moment. And we can see this girl. So I'll just close it up. Is it a girl? It's an androgynous person again. It is a someone. There is a person on the back of this beautiful big swan above this. So it's like into the clouds above this heaviness. So rising above. So that almost feels like rising up into that spiritual plane a little bit. Rising your vibration up, bringing that vibration up will help shift and create a bigger distance between the things that have been weighing you down, which are potentially thoughts, anxieties, worries, and fears. That's what these feel like. So creating a little bit of distance by raising your internal vibration. How can you do that? So meditation will help raise your vibration. Surrounding yourself with crystals can really help. I recommend for you crystal jewelry that's really good for anxiety is howlite. So a howlite bracelet can be really great. Lepidolite under your pillow is really good for restful sleep. And we see that she is sleeping as well. So it's almost like allowing yourself to rest and letting the energy do the work of lifting you up rather than you trying to drag yourself up out of the depths. Rhodochrosite is another really good crystal for supporting your mental health, and even rose quartz, which is, yes, it's a common crystal, but it's really, really great at promoting self-healing and self-love and just giving you like a supportive hug is what it feels like sometimes. So I'll show you rose quartz. That's what it looks like. And I like to put my rose quartz because it is a water-safe crystal. I pop it in my bath, and it's really great, especially on a full moon or a new moon. So hopefully that helps you. Amy says, I'm told that my spiritual gifts are blocked or hidden. Is there anything I can learn about that? Most people's spiritual gifts are blocked or hidden, and a lot of it takes, it means you've got to do some unblocking and some healing first before you can, I guess, discover them, or before you'll be ready to as well. I know that was the case for myself, and it's been the case for a lot of people, where you need to go through some things first before they awaken, if that makes sense. If you speak with your spirit team, so if you're saying, hey guys, I'm ready, I want to level up, I want to find my spirit gifts, I want to help people, you know, that is going to start that process, and you can ask them for advice. What do I need to do? So meditation's, I mean, you're going to hear it from me a lot. Meditation is the best way to enhance any of your psychic abilities or your spiritual gifts or your spiritual practice in general. I like to meditate 3 to 7 times a week for at least 20 minutes a time, but I've been doing that for a long time. So you can build up. 10 minutes once a week is great to start with. But once you start doing that and you can start communicating with your spirit team, that's going to start helping you get into the right energy and mindset to awaken those gifts. Could I ask, so Caroline says, could I ask what my dreams are trying to reveal to me? Before I answer that, Aylin says, I didn't realize you go live. I'm so excited. How does this work? So I do go live when I hit milestones. So it's not something I do quite often. I went live on YouTube for the first time when I hit 1,000. This time when I've hit 5,000, and I will go live again when I hit 10,000 subscribers. Same with my other platforms. So Facebook, if you're not following me over on Facebook, I've got about 850 likes. And when I hit 1,000, I'll be going live on Facebook. On TikTok, it's a totally different ballgame. I've gone live at 50,000 and 100,000 because that's been very fast growth. And I will go live again at 150,000. And Instagram, I'm currently about 22,000 followers, and I will go live probably at 30,000. So it'll probably be every 10,000 for Instagram. So that's when you can expect it to happen. So keep an eye out on those big milestones. That's when I go live. And how does it work? You can ask a question, and if I need the cards, I'll use the cards. If not, I'll just answer you. So totally up to you. But I don't do third-party questions. So nothing about how someone feels about you or that some sort of thing. Okay, so Caroline, could I ask what my dreams are trying to reveal to me? Oh, scroll down a bit too much. Let's have a look. I'm going to switch to Rider Waite Smith. And if you're curious, just as a little tarot history, the Rider Tarot deck. Rider was the name of the publishing company. Waite, when you hear the Waite, is for Arthur Edward Waite. So he wrote the meanings and the interpretations, and he put a lot of the ideas for the symbolism into the cards. And then Smith is Pamela Coleman Smith. She was the artist of the cards, and I think she's the biggest contributor, but I also don't want to dismiss what Arthur Edward Waite did, because he was very clever in his use of symbols and correspondences within the cards. So that's what RWS stands for. All right. So Caroline, what are your dreams trying to reveal to you? Dreams can be tricky, can't they? I did do a blog post on dream interpreting, which I recommend you have a read because it is really helpful for interpreting your own dreams if you remember some of the symbols. There are lots of things that it can mean. But it feels like we've got the Two of Wands. So Two of Wands, this feels like he's got his right hand on this one wand, which is that go get him energy, that I'm going to go and do an action step rather than waiting for something to happen. But he's blocked here. He's got a step there that he's got to step over. So it's almost like your dreams are showing you what you want, what you're desiring, and that you're currently blocked or stopping yourself. There's, you know, this, he could easily step over this, but he's like, oh crap, I guess I'm stuck here. Like, that's the energy that I'm feeling. So it's like, no, your dream's like, no, that block is in your head. That block is not that big. You can do this. It's almost like that self-confidence to take that next step and allow yourself to grow and get to that next step of growth and creation and creativity. Okay, so rather than just this almost waiting feeling that we get here. Let's go back down. Victoria, I think I read that one. Warwick, hey Warwick. Hi Hannah, can I use music as a tool for casting my intentions and wishes? I came up with some sigils only once music was playing, or is it just a personal thing? So music is definitely a tool. Music is a spiritual tool, absolutely. So if you're wanting to, oh, dearie me, that was quite intense. I won't look too much into that. And that's just broken my frame. Oh, I'm just going to pick that up so I don't trip on it when I forget about it. Oh, that's my beautiful wolf painting that I painted. All right, I've got spare frames. Okay. Maybe the energy's a bit too high in here. Okay, so back to work. Can I use music as a tool for casting my intentions and wishes? So yes, absolutely. If you find a sound or a piece of music that is helping you to almost like raise that energy, because when we're doing any form of ritual or working or spell or anything like that, you want to raise that energy, right? Music is super helpful for this. Dancing is super helpful for this. There's lots of things you can do. Orgasms, like there's so many things you can do to raise energy, and that brings you that power to push it out into the universe. So definitely, if you're feeling that connection with music, use it. And I love to hear that you came up with some sigils. That's fantastic. And sometimes music can almost like unlock that creativity section in our brain, can start to block out the general humdrum, like, oh, I have to cook dinner tonight. What am I going to cook? It's almost like your brain starts focusing on the music, which allows more of that creative and intuitive energy to come through. Because creative and intuitive energy are the same. They come from the same place. Let's have a look. I'm just going to read down. So I've got quite a few here that I've missed because I've been going slowly through them. If you've seen my previous lives, I'm usually much faster and there's very high energy and I get all like hot in my face, which I can feel starting to happen. But I've had a chamomile tea, purposely trying to really ground down. My feet are flat on the floor. I've got no shoes on to keep myself centered because I've had a bit of trouble with my energy recently. I blame the baby sucking me dry of all the iron in my body. Elder Tree Apothecary says, congrats on 5,000 subs. Thank you. So let's just see. I might not be able to get to everyone. Maggie says, thank you so much. I've been looking to get into some sort of musical instrument and a singing bowl, so this does call to me. That's awesome. So that was about the spiritual gift. Nightly Gamer responded with, yes, my spirit guide. I've only had a glimpse of what they look like, which is amazing that you've had a glimpse. Most people don't. And they have golden horns, a golden staff, a grey cloak, and also the background was stormy. So what I recommend you do, because doing this yourself is going to be a lot more powerful. They sound pretty powerful. And remember, we have multiple people on our spirit team. Some are our ancestors, some come for a long time, or they're our whole lives. Some are there just for a short time and just help us with one or two things. So what you need to do is, if you don't already have a meditation practice, start one. If you do, go into meditation what I recommend you do first is ground yourself, then clear any chakras, so clearing your energy. And then what you're going to do is imagine what I do. I mean, you can choose a different way. But what I do to meet with my guides is I will imagine wherever I'm sitting, I imagine myself standing up, stepping forward to wherever the door in the room is, opening that door. And when I step through that door, I'm in another place. This other place is where I go to meet my guides, and it is an imagined space, and it's very clear to me exactly how it looks, the texture of the ground, the feeling of the air, whether it's warm or cold. To me, it's almost like a little wooded place with little pool portals almost for the guides to come through. It's really cool. It's a very relaxing, drowsy sort of place. And so I'll just sit at the base of a tree and I'll wait. Often my grandfather will come through. He's my ancestor. And then two of my main guides will come through as well. And the first time this happened, one of the guides came through and I got an image of her. I said, okay, I can see she's got long black hair. She's wearing blue, and sometimes it might stop there. You might just get the image of them. And she knelt in front of me and I asked, so you need to sort of ask mentally, what is your name? They may not give it to you the first time, the second time, third time. It's up to them. And it's also up to you to be listening and trusting as well. So, and when you're ready. And I got a name. And I thought, oh, okay. And it was very almost like spelled out in my head. It was intoned in a way that I knew how to spell it. And so I said, thank you very much. And then we had a very small conversation, and then I came out of the meditation. And what my mentor taught me, so CB Bjork was mentoring me through all of this when I was going through meeting my guides and that sort of thing. And he had taught me that once you get that name, within 3 days, you will get clarification. You will get validation on that name. You will either hear someone say it, you will see it written down, you will see an image of your guide, whatever it is, it will come through somehow. They'll make sure that that works. And so I thought, okay, all right, well, this was really cool that I got a name, wrote it down. I remember calling him very excited, like, oh my goodness, this just happened. And what I did was I then Googled that name and found out it actually is a deity in another practice. And that was very exciting. Like, this is a real thing. I didn't just make up a word in my head. So that was really cool. But literally 2 days later, I was at my previous job. And I was just scrolling through my emails because I did not like that job. So I was just reading my own personal emails. And I subscribed to Ethne Dawn, the tarot reader. And she did like a card pull. She does like a pick a card. And whenever I'm reading this email, I picked the middle one. And I was like, what's she got to say about that? Scroll down, and there is an image and the name of my spirit guide. And I was like, oh, I remember my eyes started watering. I got full body. I even now get full body chills when I think about it. And I just almost like sat there in shock, just like, this is real. This is absolutely real. This is the validation that I needed. This is 100% real. It was a magical moment. So that's what I recommend you do. You go into meditation, you ask that name, and then you wait those 3 days and see where that name comes through to validate. And that's going to be really, really beneficial. And once you know their name, you can start using it, talking to them with it. I like to light a blue candle for this guide. That sort of thing. And I've had this with another guide happen as well. So, and that was a very unusual circumstance that I got their name. It was meant to be, felt very divine. So there's some magic here with it. It's really crazy how they can manipulate what happens here just a little bit, but enough to help you along your path. But they sound really, really powerful. So that's a good thing to have them on your side. And before you even have a name or know much about them, you can still talk with them. You can still begin that conversation, and that's going to help strengthen that bond as well. Just make sure anything that you're working with in terms of your spirit team that you're grateful. Thank them. Thank you for giving me that image of you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being on my side. Those sorts of things. Gratefulness will get you very far. Let's have a look. Sorry, just scrolling down. So there's a few more comments. So I probably won't be able to get to everyone's now. Shannon says, thank you so much. You're spot on about journaling. I've always been a writer, but my depression has taken me away from that lately. Thank you. There you go. That's probably why. And with those 6 swords, they almost like feel like pens to me. So yes, definitely journaling. Even if you start small, just a little journal prompt and write about it and see how that feels. Caroline says, I've always loved rose quartz. I'm always drawn to my rose. Very often I put it in my plants. I had a little rose quartz break, and I pop it in my little plant pot as well, and they do really well with it. Halen says, congrats on your following growth. Thank you. Warwick, oh no. So this is in relation to when the picture fell. Just getting to these comments now. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I know it helps a lot. Katia wants to ask for what her guides say for this month. And Tricia says, thank you so much. I need to look into the Akashic Records. Yes, it's very intriguing stuff. It's not something I've been drawn to personally. It feels like some of those things just call to certain people. It's not for everyone. But yeah, definitely have a look. It's really, really interesting stuff. All right, let's have a look. So for the month of October, what are your guides coming through to say? What do they want you to know? Any guidance? And we have the King of Pentacles. So again, Shadowscapes deck. So King of Pentacles. Now this one in particular, he's ruled by Taurus, firstly. And he's in this tree. Okay, so there's an actual tree that he's growing up and out of, and we can see he's almost like broken through that trunk that was binding him, and he's got this big pentacle above his head, which to me is symbolizing almost like knowledge. There's something else coming through, which I'll tell you in a second. We've also got some beautiful oak leaves and golden acorns as well, which they're all coming through like knowledge. So for the month of October, what I want you to do is a visualization practice of when you sit there, you imagine that your crown chakra is open, so almost like an opening in the top of your head. And I want you to imagine like a big, how do I describe this? It's like an image coming through. A big ink drop, is that the right word? Like a golden, so it's going to be golden, liquid, glittery liquid, golden, like elixir. Think of almost like Felix Felicis, like liquid luck. That's sort of what I'm getting. If you've ever seen calligraphy ink in gold, that is the image. Like it's a very liquidy, moving, almost alive, glittery liquid, almost like a big bubble of it. And just imagine it coming through from the universe, and it's sitting right above here, and you're going to imagine physically going up and popping that so that it all starts to pour into you, into your head, and just like fill your body with this beautiful gold liquid, which is this knowledge. So the guidance here is to almost like open yourself up on a different level to the knowledge that comes through, and that can be intuition, also can be claircognizant, so just that clear knowing of things, and working on that in the psychic development space. That's going to really, really help you this month of October, especially right now, because the whole month of October, and especially as we get closer to Samhain and Halloween, that veil is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So that's going to really help you in terms of connecting with that other side and bringing in some changes that are going to elevate you as well in what you're doing. So that's the guide there. And it does feel very grounded as well. This will help your growth. So you're focusing on growing and growing your knowledge, and learning more and that sort of thing in the month of October. But make sure your feet are on the ground and you're grounded at all times as well. Let's scroll back down again. Received my natal chart today. So awesome. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. So yes, I sent one out this morning. So yes, they're so much fun. I actually really enjoy doing them. They're really, every single one is different. Every single one is different. It's crazy. It's so cool. Amy says, any advice on connecting with ancestors? Yes. If you know your ancestors, I recommend starting with the ones that you know of. Even if you haven't met them in your life, ones that you know of and potentially have a photograph of. So I have my grandfather, which is my mum's father, and my grandmother, which is my mum's mother. I met my grandfather. He died when I was 5. We had a very, very special bond. He's one of my ancestor guides at the moment. He's a lifelong guide. And then I've got my grandmother. She's also on my ancestral altar. I never met her in life. I still talk to her. I still try to create a connection with her. I haven't seen her come in any of the workings that I've done. It doesn't mean it won't happen, but I like to still honour her and the impact that she had on my mum and on my life as well. So she's on my ancestral altar. So you can start with photos of your ancestors, people that you've known. Never put photos of living people on your altar. Always ones that have already passed into spirit. That's my only piece of advice. So once they've passed, then you can pop a photo or something that they, loved or that represents them as well. I've also got something that represents my husband's Nana, because she was just the sweetest, kindest soul. And it's a spiritual object that she had, and I've incorporated that into our practice, and we use that to honour her as well. So on her birthday, light a candle in front of that, and on Mother's Day and that sort of thing as well. So it's all about sort of honouring, respecting, inviting them to be a part of your practice, and it's up to them. They have free will on the other side as well. If they want to connect in with you and your practice, you do have some ancestors that may be very strict in a religious sense and not want a bar of it. That's fine. That's up to them. They've still got learning and healing to do on the other side as well. So, yes, just start with a photograph, connecting in and talking with them. Pandora says, any tips for creating good content and growing your following? I'm still figuring out how to do reels, let alone make clever ones. So what did I do? I started TikTok, I reckon. Sorry, my heart's just starting to beat a bit faster. I'm due for an iron transfusion. So just so you guys are aware why I keep getting all these crazy symptoms. It's very low. My midwives are very worried. But everything else is fine. I'm fine. I just need to get that infusion. So when I started TikTok, which I think was December, and I've had a very, very fast following, I found, for me personally, that what worked for me was the fact that my face was visible. The moment I started showing my face in my social media was the moment it started to really come, lift off. And I think that's because people find that more personable and they can see your personality and it's more trusting and all of that. I also find when I'm on TikTok, and you can use Instagram for reels as well, I find the song first. So I usually have an idea, like I will show you sort of my process. I'm a Virgo, I plan. So I have my little planned everything. And here I have all my ideas for TikTok content and YouTube content that I want to create for the week. So I'll write it down when I think of it. I also have, there's another book over there, pages and pages and pages of ideas and content. So if I'm ever going, what am I going to film today? Then I just look through and go, oh, yes. And I follow wherever that inspiration hits for me. I'm like, okay, yes, that feels good right now. So I'm sort of feeling into it. And then I pick the song. So I know what I'm going to do. I have a plan. I may have a little Word document with, all right, I'm going to write this, or this is the information I'll use. And then I pick the song. And the song, depending on the content, some of the content you don't want to be dancing, but it has to make me want to move. If it makes me want to move, it's going to make my energy lift up and people are going to respond to that. And I think that's really important when you're creating reels and things like that. So that's short form content. You don't want it to be too wordy, don't want it to be too long. You're going to grab their attention really quick, and dancing and moving and doing something is much better than talking at them. So I find the ones where I talk, even if it's great information, I get very little audience retention and that sort of thing. And that's just, it's not fun. People have a short attention span on those apps. So I do mix it up. So I have some longer form content and some shorter form content on them, but mainly I stick to the short form. If I can keep it under 30 seconds, that's good. The other thing is when you're creating content for things like YouTube, again, planning, I've learned a lot. I've had YouTube now in 3 days' time, it'll be 1 year. So in 1 year, I've learned a lot. I've learned how to edit. I've learned how to plan my videos. I have learned how to adjust the sound quality, add all sorts of things. All sorts of things. It's very cringy to look back on my original content, but they're still good. So I find filming things for YouTube, you've got to film in snippets. So, hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Stop. And then the next clip. Today, we're going to talk about blah, blah, blah. Stop. And that stopping allows you to go, regroup, all right. And you're going to have less symptoms of and those sorts of filler words, because your mind's trying to think of what you need to say, because then you can look at your little script and go, then I'm going to talk about this point, this point, this point. And I'll free flow still with stuff that I really know inside and out, but it's just really handy to have that there and to be able to stop the camera and start the camera and that sort of thing. Hopefully that helps. You also want to make sure that your content is stuff that people want to hear, and teaching. I find teaching really good. People want to learn how to do it. And even if it takes away, like if I teach people astrology, if I teach people tarot, that doesn't diminish my tarot business in any way, because A, it shows that I know what I'm talking about, and B, people are going to see that and go, oh, wow, I could learn it, but I can't be bothered, or I'm not drawn to it. I don't have the gift, but I'll go to her anyway. So it's going to still get me the right people at the right time. And there are tarot readers that can't read for themselves, so they'll go to another tarot reader. So you just need to be not afraid to give away things for free, basically. Not your services, but giving away knowledge for free. I find really, really great for building up a following and just keeping yourself ethical and upbeat and positive. We've got a lot of heavy stuff, especially in the world this year. So having positive, fun stuff is always going to help. Okay, so let's go down. Nightly Gamer, thank you so much. I'll probably sit in my tree at home and do that. That sounds beautiful. Katia says, okay, love it. Thank you so, so much. Raylan says, would you please be willing to help me find out what I need to do to help with my root chakra? So for root chakra, you want to be using any of your black or dark crystals or red crystals. So I'll show you a couple that I really like to use. Red jasper. Red jasper is really, really good for the root chakra. So is black tourmaline, hematite as well, which I wear most days, and garnet as well. So garnet, isn't it funny? It almost looks black, but that is actually red. It's such a deep, dark red. When you hold it up to the light, you can just see it. So those, tourmaline goes up there. Those crystals are going to help with those energy blocks. So you can lie down on the bed and place one over your root chakra and lie there for 20 minutes and maybe listen to a root chakra binaural beat on YouTube in the background, and just imagining like white light coming up through and pushing through any blocks and recycling any excess energy back into the earth. That sort of thing can be really helpful. I find crystals and sound healing the best. You can also eat more root vegetables, sweet potato, onions, potatoes, those sorts of things. They're all going to really help. Hibiscus tea can be really good. Sorry, baby's kicking my bladder. Hibiscus tea can be really good for the root chakra, and black tea as well. So those are some things you can do to help shift that energy around. Warwick says, rest up. Yes, I've been resting so much. Yesterday, actually Sunday, this is a really cute story. On Sunday, I took my daughter to the grocery store. So my husband pretty much goes to work 6 days a week at the moment. And so I took her to the grocery store. I've been very tired recently. I didn't get my iron results till yesterday. So I just thought, this pregnancy is just zapping me dry. Now we know it's literally because my iron levels are at 2. But I took her to the grocery store. It wasn't a big shop. This is like in and out in half an hour. We get home and she's like, I want to play. I want to do this. And she's 3.5. And I'm like, Mummy needs to rest. That's me for the day. Half an hour outing. I'm done. I need to lie down. She's like, all right, we'll put on a movie, Mum, and you can rest. And I was like, all right. So I lie down on the couch and she chose Peter Pan. And she kind of she sat next to me. I was sort of on the longer side of the couch and she was on this side. And I had my head here. She kind of put her hands around my head. She sort of shifted my head onto her lap and she was just patting it. And she kept kissing me and cuddling my head. And next thing you know, I fell asleep. Now, she usually won't sit through a full movie, but apparently she got up and went and told her dad. She was like, Mummy's sleeping. We have to be really quiet and not wake her up. I'm going to go and keep cuddling her. And she went back and would just cuddle me and kiss me or kiss my tummy and pat me and make sure that I was comfortable and okay. And I woke up at the end of Peter Pan and I was like, I just had a fantastic nap. That was great. And she didn't wake me up and she just knew that I needed it. So definitely getting the rest when I need it, which is great. And I've cut back on a lot of my services. So there's no more love readings on my page. And I'm actually not going to be doing the deep dive anymore just because the energy in that one has been really intense as well. Amy Brushwood, what about connecting with my husband's mother? She's tapped me on the shoulder before around birthdays. Could she be a part of my ancestors even though she's not my immediate family? Yes, I believe so. I believe they don't have to be a blood relation to be part of your soul group. They don't have to be, related to you in this life to be part of your ancestors. It can be from a previous life. So you can have ancestors that you never heard of and they're not from this current bloodline. So the blood part isn't a big deal in terms of ancestral work. And I absolutely believe that you can connect with your husband's past loved ones as well that are in his family. And if you had a good connection with them or if you're getting signs from them now in spirit, then that's a good sign to start working with them and talking with them and opening up that connection as well. Shana says, hello, Hannah. I've been watering my garden today. Oh, beautiful. It's raining over here. No need to water on this side of town. Raylan says, I'm having trouble with it on my own. I'm not sure if there's something else blocking me. That's in reference to the root chakra. So sometimes the root chakra, it's related to the formative years, which is from 1 to 7 in your childhood. So if you have a major either childhood trauma, and again, trauma is not always something like abusive family or adoption or like big crazy things. Trauma can just simply be, you know, a parent that was, you know, ill a lot and you had to look after them. So which means you may need to reparent yourself. It can be something as simple as just not feeling heard because you had a lot of brothers or sisters. Like that can be traumatic to people. Your trauma has the level that you give it or that it feels to you, okay? You can never judge someone else's trauma from an experience. So if you're feeling really blocked, you may need to look back to those times, which can be hard to remember. If you don't have many memories from being a child, you may have blocked a few things out. But it can be helpful to potentially go back and think on those times, think of the traditions that your family has passed on to you, the things that you wish to pass on to your children or don't wish to pass on to your children that have come from your family. Journaling, those sorts of things can help you move through some of those blocks. If you're really interested in diving really deep into it, there is a book called Anatomy of the Spirit, which is by Caroline Mice, and that's the 7 stages of power and healing. It's very, like, they're small words. It's an intense little novel. And she talks about each of the 7 chakras and their relation to the Christian religion, the Judaism, and the Kabbalic mysticism side of things. And, what's the other one she relates it to? She relates it to the top 3. And Hindu. No, chakra. Anyway, my brain doesn't work right now. That book is really good. It's very in-depth though, but very, very good for learning how to unblock yourself. Ashlyn, I'm not able to read for myself at the moment. It feels like the TV's static when I try to even look at my tools. I'm just curious to know if it's still possible for Brent and I to respark what we've had. Let's have a look. Or if it's definitely over. I'm going to switch on this deck. Yeah, it gets like that sometimes where you just can't read for yourself. And especially if you're emotionally involved in the question or what you're looking at. Sometimes spirit blocks us on purpose if we're not meant to know, or if we're meant to be caught by surprise on something. That can be something that happens as well. Let's have a look. So for Ashlyn, let's just have a look what's going on. I'm just going to do likely outcome. All right, so it feels like you're quite fixated on it. So we've got the Page of Pentacles, and you can see he's kind of like, what I feel is that you've pedestaled, you've put this person, is it him, Brent? Yep. You've put this Brent guy up on a pedestal and this relationship up on a pedestal, and you're focusing a lot of your energy onto that, and it's almost blinded you to everything else that's around you, is what it's feeling. There is a practical aspect, because when you were with this person, it filled something within you. But what I'm getting, and it's not even from the card, it's you need to work on figuring out how to do that for yourself if you ever want to, go back into this relationship. This isn't a clear yes or no in terms of will it re-spark, because that's up to both him and you. You both have free will in this. But if you can work on filling that, what you feel is a hole. I mean, we don't have holes in ourselves. We don't need someone else to make us whole. We are our own whole persons as we are. But figuring out what need he was filling for you, fill that yourself, and then reassess whether you still need this relationship and whether it's going to bring you the same joy that you thought you had before, is the advice that comes through with that one. Okay, but definitely it's up on a pedestal at the moment. So you're seeing a lot of the good stuff and remembering a lot of the good stuff, and focusing on, I'll only be happy if I get to this again. And it's almost taking you off path a little bit, this fixation. So step back, come back into yourself, work on you for just a little bit, and then reassess the situation. Doesn't feel like it's definitely over. There's still a chance is what I'm feeling there, but it's going to depend on you and on him as well. Warwick said that super nice. Your daughter is your little nurse. She is. She's such a... I can't. I'm going to be one of those bragging mums, but I seriously have the best kid in the world. She's just amazing. Congratulations on 5,000s. I work with my late mum-in-law. Yep. So there's a couple of people here, obviously, that are doing the same. We're working with in-laws and in-laws' family members as well. I think it's really beautiful because when you get married, it's a melding of families, right? It's not just you two, it's the families as well. So they will become a part of your life. And do you have any good books you'd recommend for beginner witches? I do. It depends. And I find this question is so common. Everyone wants to know where to find their resources. But witchcraft for everyone is different. So what I find really good, you might not find really good, and so on and so forth. I do really like Pamela Grossman, just in general. She has a podcast that's really, really good, which is Waking the Witch. Is that what her podcast is called? That's what her book's called. Anyway, that book is really good. It's just more about the archetype and through history how witchcraft has come through. So that's just a really good overview of witchery and witchcraft in the world. The other ones that I find really good, a lot of them are, so the ones that are, I'll show you. Sorry, I'm just going to scoop because all my books are behind my laptop. Here we go. So all the books like this. This is called The Good Witch's Guide, a modern-day Wikipedia of magical ingredients and spells. All of the books that are created for beginners are generally Wiccan. I'm not Wiccan, so a lot of this doesn't sit right with me, but a lot of it still does. I still find it a good book in general. But what I want you to do is when you're reading books like this is to take it all with, a grain of salt. So don't take it as gospel. If you are Wiccan, then yeah, there's tons of Wiccan books out there. There are some books I don't recommend. There's one recently, it's called Witch. It's a black cover. I think it's got silver or white writing by Lisa something. What I've read of the introduction of that is extremely transphobic and TERF energy, so trans-exclusionary radical feminism. So I don't recommend that book. I also don't recommend any of the Dianic Wiccan witchcraft books, again, for the exact same reason. They are trans-exclusionary radical feminists, and that is not what I vibe with, and I don't think that's what witchcraft vibes with as well, because witches stand with the marginalised and the oppressed. So if we're not lifting people up and seeing them for who they are and their souls, then we shouldn't be doing witchcraft, is my opinion. So they're the ones I don't recommend. But there's tons. You can look into occult style witchcraft and ceremonial magic. In that case, anything by Arthur Edward Waite, Crowley, yes, no. He's a bit of a radical figure, interesting figure to look into, Aleister Crowley. Read his story, it's interesting, but the books he's written are still useful. Also, Eliphas Levi, very good. I'm reading one of his Transcendental Magic at the moment. This is not for everyone because, it was written in the 1850s, so it is a slog, and he is telling, he is not teaching. Still very good information, and if you're interested in ceremonial magic, which is high magic, then that's the route to go. I'm not interested in performing it. I'm just interested in learning about it because I like to learn. And then you've got, herbal magic as well. There's tons of other ones on my table back there. I've got House Witch and the Green Witch. Both of those I do recommend as well. They're really good. Just depends what type of witch you want to be and how you want to do your magic and all sorts of things. I often recommend this one, which is Herbcraft by Neris Pershon, and that's just on herbs. It's not witchy at all. It's literally medicinal herbs, but for me, that's a big component in my witchcraft. Let's see. So hopefully that helps. I do have a series on books that I recommend as well, which has a few more books on things like astrology and divination and learning, that sort of thing. So Amy says, cool, I've never met her, neither of my boys, but they've been told she's around for their birthdays and have felt her presence, and they talked to her picture, which she's validated in a reading. So Jessica asks, I had a dream I was pregnant in the middle of a heist and almost died. Are you able to do an interpretation or advise a good website? So I've written a blog on helping to interpret your own dreams. So pregnancy dreams are quite common with women, especially. I don't know if men get them as much, but women definitely do. And it can often mean two things, either literal pregnancy, or it can mean an idea or a creative idea or business or venture or project that you're going to birth. The fact that you were in a heist, that feels energetically very, what's the word? Scary. So it feels like you're scared to bring this idea out, that sort of thing. It can feel like you're not quite protected or not protected against the unexpected, those sorts of things. So you need to look at the symbols that are in there. Often I like to start, if you're starting to look into your own dreams, starting with the elements. So you may look at, all right, water, earth, fire, and air. So if there's a lot of water in your dream, so if there's, you've fallen off a boat, or you're on a boat, or you're swimming, or you're underwater, or you're drinking water, or in the shower, those sorts of dreams, they're often to do with your emotions, your relationships, your intuition, that sort of thing. If you're dreaming about, like, I'm in the mountains, I'm walking through the forest, I'm gardening, something to do with the earth, that is often things like health, finances, your house, practical stuff. If you're dreaming about fire, it's a volcano, or you're in a fire, or you're watching a fire, or you're looking at a candle, those sorts of things are often about creativity, projects, inspiration, things that get you excited, your hobbies, that sort of thing. And then also if you're dreaming of air, so you're flying, or you're a bird, or there are birds in your dream, or there are feathers in your dream, those sorts of things can often be about your ideas and your thoughts, and you're communicating, the way you're communicating with the world. So it's really interesting to look into the elements part of it, and then you can start from there diving into the actual symbols that you see in your dreams. The more you do this, the better you get at it. Keep a dream journal as well, and you can look back and see some things that have happened or that you've noticed and that sort of thing. Let's have a look. I love that book. I found it in an op shop for $2. Oh, which book are you talking about? Maybe the Herbcraft one, because I found that in an op shop. Angel Harrison Clark, you're awesome. Congratulations on hitting 5K subscribers. My 12-year-old daughter loves when I put your videos in the family room. Oh, I love that. Some of them aren't kid-friendly. They're not many. Most of them are okay. But every now and then I do talk about sex magic or orgasms, which may not be quite as kid-friendly, but I do try and make them overall wholesome. Pandora says, I have a Neris Pershon book on essential oils. Yeah, she's amazing. That book, she also talks about essential oils, making her own beauty products, everything. She's really well-versed in what she does. Yes, Herbcraft. Yeah. So it's a good book. And it's funny, I think it's from the 80s. Like, I mean, you can tell from the image and the color scheme in there. So I got it from Savers for $5. So that was a great purchase. Yeah, herbs that heal. But what's really good in it, so she goes through all of the different herbs, the main ones, I guess, and tells you all about them, what they do, how they can be used, both in cooking, that sort of thing. And then she goes through, like, if you're making poultices, fermentations, and compresses, what for. So this is like a little reference thing. So for inflammation, you're going to use calendula, hyssop, mallow, marjoram, oregano, mullein, tansy, and witch hazel extract. Make a very cold compress using at least 4 of these herbs. Sprinkle witch hazel onto the compress before applying and reapply when the compress is warm. So I use this a lot, and it's great when you've got kids, and really good for those times when, you maybe the power's out or whatever and you need to access a book. I just find having a book on hand so much easier. Like, you can Google stuff, but this at least I know I can trust. It's published in a book, at least to an extent. Anyway, so I have been going for an hour and 20 minutes. So I may make the call now to jump off and get back to my usual things. I've got a few more readings and things today to do, and I would like to also film another YouTube video today, hopefully. But it has been a pleasure and a joy to meet with you all here today. A book that's good on doing essential oils. Yeah, anything by Neris Pershon is going to be really good. There are a few, like in this, they talk about essential oils as well. What else have I used for essential oils? I don't know if I have a book specifically on it. I think I've just learnt and retained a bit, but Yes, I don't know one specifically off the top of my head. Anyways, Warwick and Katie says, thank you. You're welcome. You're all very welcome. It's been lovely. I'm sorry if I missed anyone's comments or questions. It's been lovely being with you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And keep an eye out for when I hit another milestone. So as I said, if you haven't followed on Facebook, just look up Suburban Witchery. You can go and like the Facebook page. Once I hit 1,000, I'll be doing this again, but over on Facebook. So that's probably the next milestone that I'll hit, although that Facebook just grows very, very slowly. Thank you, Jessica. She says, congrats. I love your energy. Learned so much, Caroline. So I'm glad. I love sharing my knowledge with you all here and helping you all level up and get to where you're supposed to be on your spiritual paths. It's a joy. So lots of love. Love you all, and I will catch you all next time.